Hey there folks, and welcome back for another video. I'm your host Chris, or CDB, and I'm so happy to be with you again today. We're going to do a head shave with Stirling Glacial Lemon Chill. We're going to use the Leaf. This is, by the way, a double-edge razor. It uses three, you can see that, half DE blades. And they've got these little doors. And let me put the blade back in real quick. Anyway, once you fasten it down, there's a thumb screw on the back, and you tighten that up, and then you are ready to go with your Leaf double edge razor. Three half DE blades in this razor. I absolutely love it for head shaving. It is my favorite DE razor for head shaving by far. We're going to be using the Polar Shaving G4 made by Frank Shaving. Really great value brush, $27 on Amazon. I'll have a link below if you're interested. The Stirling Glacial Lemon Chill, lots of menthol, which I need because I've had a cold and I want it to sort of open things up. Wonderful lemon scent. You do get a lot of that menthol scent as well because it's glacial. $13.60 per ounce, 5.8 ounces, $2.34 an ounce, which is absolutely spectacular for cost, just phenomenal cost. Stirling has sort of stuck to what works, which is offering, and I'm gonna start loading the brush here, by the way. I load the brush, when I do use a brush in a container like this, I load it upside down because I don't want to introduce water to the soap here. So any water that might be still left on the brush and it is damp now will drip back down. I don't want it hanging around in my soap. It's generally, in my view, not a great practice to have a lot of water in your soap, but I do like to load from the container to sometimes face lather, or in this case, head lather. I just find I get some of my best lathers that way. It's less airy than bowl lathering generally for me. I want to make sure I get a good load, and I want to really enjoy this. The menthol is going to give me a lot of cooling, which I really like, and I'm going to use the Razor Rock pre-shave cube as well before I start. We're just going to have a magnificent head shave today, I hope, or at least that's the plan. All right, what do we got here? Looks like we got a good load on our brush. Here is our Razor Rock pre-shave cube, and we'll wet the head here and then rub this on. We'll also wet the cube. And you know, there are different feelings about pre-shave and their effectiveness. They don't hurt, I can tell you that for a fact. At minimum, I should say, they will boost your lather. And some folks, you know, think they have other properties like removing oils from the skin and so on. I just took a shower, so I don't think it's going to be doing much in that regard, but it will potentially add some slickness and so on and so forth. So we'll set that aside. And I actually need a towel to wipe my hand off. Stay tuned. All right, and so we're back, and we've got our brush ready to go. Soft brush, this Polar Shaving G4. Again, made by Frank Shaving out of China. Nice brush for the money. Quite handsome handle. The Frank Shaving people have really, in my view, I'm gonna add a little water to my brush there, up their game when it comes to handles and so forth. That's quite an attractive handle, at least for my taste. I really like it. And by the way, I'm going on 3 years of head shaving now. Best decision I ever made, as far as I'm concerned. I don't miss the hair at all. I've greatly enjoyed head shaving. It's relaxing. And look, when you get up, all you gotta do is, you know, brush your teeth. Like if you've taken a nap during the day or on a weekend, let's say, you don't have to worry about getting up and messing around with your hair. It's ready to go. High speed, low drag, as they used to call it in the military. It's just fun. And it allows me to do more shaving, which I'm a shaver as a hobby. So if you get to practice more of your hobby, that's a good thing, at least as far as I'm concerned. Let's just paint a little bit here. I'm feeling the cooling from the menthol in the soap here, which is what I was after today. Not that it's hot. It's outside, it's probably maybe in the 50s. We're still obviously in the midst of this COVID-19 thing, and people are, you know, losing their minds and so on, and it's kind of embarrassing and aggravating both. Okay, getting started with the leaf. Make sure you pull down your ear. That is the place where I have cut myself the most. I haven't cut myself a lot while head shaving, but I've nicked my ears a couple of times, so always make sure you're pulling that ear out of the way and making sure it's clear of your passes, because if you nick it, it is not fun and it bleeds a lot. Trust me. I know from experience. But usually, you know, only in your first few strokes around your ears do you have to worry about that. Obviously, when you move further up on the head, it's not nearly as much of an issue. So, but I really like this leaf razor for head shaving. It feels very similar to a cart in that it pivots and it's got, you know, 3 half blades in there. And it works very well as far as I'm concerned. I have really enjoyed using it relative to other DEs. Now, I'm still best with cart razors on my head. They just work the best for me. But I believe that in time, that I can make this leaf razor a daily driver, and that it will be just as effective for me as carts. And so that's the goal. And as I mentioned in my last head shaving video, I saw Chris from Another Cut Above talking a lot about this razor, and it's what inspired me to try it on the head, and he is right in my opinion. It is a terrific head shaver as far as DEs go. Pivoting, folks, I know a lot of folks in the traditional community sort of poo-poo pivoting, but on your head, I will tell you, it does help. Because, you know, you're reaching behind and there's some angles that you don't have when you're shaving your face. When you're shaving your face, most of the angles are fairly consistent. Not so on the head. That's why it's generally a little bit more difficult. And the pivoting does help. It does help. It's really hard to maintain a consistent angle when going around all the contours on your head. So the pivoting does some of that for you. It just makes it a little easier overall. Let's see if we can get around there. The head on this is a little wide. That's probably the only knock on the razor. When I say, I should say tall from top to bottom. But other than that, you know, I don't really have a negative on this razor. The long handle actually does help a little bit for head shaving. I'm not as crazy about long handles for face shaving, but in head shaving, I find that it does help, and it aids your shave. Just makes things a little easier. Makes things a little easier to get to, I should say. And overall, I like it. It just works well. One of the things about pre-shave sometimes is if you don't get enough, you're probably better off on your pre-shaves once you put them on your head to sort of apply some water to it and sort of rub it in a little bit, because if you don't, sometimes the pre-shave will gum up your razor if you don't have enough water in your mix. So I recommend to not do what I did, which is just put it on your head and then lather over it. Put it on your head and then put some water and sort of work it in a little bit and then lather over that if you don't want it to gum up your razor. It hasn't been a problem for me, but I have had to, you see there, you do have to rinse it out because there's a thick layer under your lather of that pre-shave, and it will, it can get in the way if you're not careful. So I recommend that you sort of go ahead and add some water to it, sort of work it a little bit, and then good to go. Let's see, just cleaning up on our first pass back here. Really feels good, the leaf. It is by far my favorite DE on the head. There is absolutely nothing that's close to this as far as head shaving goes for me that I have discovered. The best. I really like it a lot. And Chris Madden is 100% correct. It is terrific. It works very well. All right, get a little slickness back there. a little moisture. Wipe our hands off. You don't want to be, especially on your head, you don't want to have slippery hands on a metal handle, because if you let this thing loose and it flies somewhere, you know, you could really cut yourself. So make sure you wipe your hands off. That's very important. Again, the level of difficulty in shaving the head relative to the face, a little bit more difficult. It's not a ton, but there are more curves. There are more areas you can't see, obviously. And so it is more challenging. There's absolutely no question about it. But I will say that I have enjoyed it for nearly 3 years now. And the vast majority of the time, I am a daily, every single day shaver. And so I don't miss a lot of days. Every now and then, you know, I'll skip a day on the head, but I probably have done over the last 3 years, I've probably head shaved at least 350 days out of every year, or more, probably more. But like, let's just say if I go camping or something like that, I may not shave my head, but I don't take off days. It's rare, let's put it that way. So when I'm shaving my head or anything else, I'm all in. You know, I'm every single day. It is a good part of my routine that I, for one, really appreciate. I love the cooling on this Stirling Glacial Lemon Chill. It's fantastic. It's refreshing and invigorating, I think. And it's going to be particularly good in summer coming. Let's add a little bit of moisture here. All right. There we go. And again, for my head, all I need is that slick layer of protection. It doesn't have to be a Santa Claus beard like you see, you know, on my videos and some of the other videos when we make our really thick lather. Sometimes that can actually work against you if it's too thick. And so I just want a layer of protection. That is all that's required. And so I tend not to lather as heavy. I don't leave as much soap on my head because it's just absolutely not required, and it can get in the way. So get that layer of protection that you need and then leave it at that. That's my recommendation. Don't go too light, you know, because then you can have the opposite problem. But you don't need a big, thick, cloudy, you know, ½ an inch worth of lather to get a great shave. As long as this razor can glide along with the mixture of that soap and the water, you are golden, and it's working perfectly. Great cooling, and that's what you would expect from a glacial product from Stirling. It is a favorite of many people who love that cooling. Really, really nice. It's been quite a while since I've used it, but I do enjoy it, and their products for the money are phenomenal. I mean, you just can't get a better value in soap. And they're one of the few artisans who have sort of stuck to their guns in terms of pricing, and they really haven't, they've improved their formulas over the years, but they haven't marketed exotic formulas and upcharge. I think it just nicked my ear right there. I did. See what I mean by pulling your ear around? There is a perfect example of what not to do. I was not paying attention, and I nicked my ear right there. You can see it. But we're going to work around it. That's why I told you, listen to me. Do as I say, not as I do, sort of thing. But it'll be all right. I'll put some... Ow. Did I do it again? No. I'll put some styptic on that after the shave, and it will be fine. It will bleed a little bit, so beware. I think I may have actually got that with the, you see these little metal tabs right here? Right there? There you go. I think I might have actually got it with that. It felt like, maybe I didn't, yeah, it's just little. It almost felt like one of those tabs hit that, but could be just me. There's no blood really, so we're good. We'll continue on. Definitely be careful around your ears. It is critically important. I've probably nicked myself 4 or 5 times over the last 3 years on my ears. And it's never fun. And it's kind of hard to get it to stop bleeding sometimes, because they just bleed and bleed and bleed. Actually, anywhere on your dome will bleed quite a bit, so just be careful. This cooling is terrific, terrific. Anyway, let's get back to Stirling. They've stuck to great value soaps. You really can't find a better value in soaps for the price. I mean, it's quality stuff, and it is well priced, and they have a wide selection of scents. They have great customer service. They don't hold you over the barrel on shipping. I can't say enough good things about Stirling and the type of folks that they are. It is definitely a company that I can recommend without question. And again, they have resisted the temptation to develop exotic formulas and upcharge, and I really applaud them for that. And that is not a criticism to the artisans who do, because every artisan should practice their business and craft the way they see fit. But I like that Stirling is just good old reliable, you know. It's just something you know you're gonna get it out, and it's gonna work, you know. It is a workhorse soap, would be the way I would describe it. It is the ones like, how sometimes things, you have these really fancy things, but you don't want to use them because they're so fancy. And then you just grab I know this thing is going to just hit the mark every single time. I'm grabbing the old, reliable, old, faithful. That is Stirling as a brand. Reliable, faithful. It's going to treat you well, you know. And that to me means a lot. And it's why I really love their brand, and I use their products all the time. And, it's very easily for me to recommend. I have the most trouble with the leaf getting this area right here on my head, and this area right here, which I've done a pretty good job with today. But feels like we've done well. Let's rinse, and we'll come back and get to the post. Stay tuned. And we are back with the magic made by witches, Thayer's, which hazel, tongue twisting today. And we're going to slap some of this on real quick. This has witch hazel, aloe, it's cucumber, lightly scented, terrific. By the way, I don't think I nicked myself there. That was just that's a red spot that's been there, but it felt like I did. And I was like, well, there I was. I got caught sleeping and nicked myself. Beautiful head shave, by the way. Absolutely terrific. The cooling of this lemon chill is fantastic. The Polar, really good value, 27 bucks. Amazon, I'll have a link below if you're interested. Really, really good. And the Leaf Razor, phenomenal head shaver for me. I really like it a lot. We're going to close it out with a little bit of Stirling Sharp Dress Man, just because I'm trying to finish up the rest of this bottle. It is that Green Irish Tweed scent, which is really, really nice. And I like it. And we're going to splash some of that in the hand here. And I'm going to add one of, whoops, might have added too much. I'm going to add Frost Drop to that. Let's splash some more in there. So we can have some menthol going in this. Ah, yes, that feels fantastic. Oh, yeah. Really, really enjoyable. Very nice. Wonderful head shave. Folks, please stay safe during this time of COVID-19. Limit your attending of mass gatherings and keep yourself safe. I want to thank everyone for joining me. As always, until next time, I want to remind you, it's your shave. Do it your way, and God bless.